Within 2 minutes, Ukraine's Nasams team neutralized every incoming threat, showing unmatched efficiency. Since late 2022, Ukraine's air defense has been significantly strengthened by the arrival of Nasams. These modern systems, built by Kongsberg and Raytheon, have been critical in protecting major cities and infrastructure from Russian aerial attacks. One of the standout units operating Nasams is commanded by hero of Ukraine Kirilo Peretyatko. His division has become a symbol of precision and resilience. In just 2 minutes during one notable combat episode, his team successfully intercepted 11 Russian cruise missiles. Nasams are designed to intercept a wide range of aerial threats, including aircraft, helicopters, drones, and cruise missiles. However, they are not intended to counter ballistic missiles. The system's missiles are capable of hitting targets from 2.5 up to 40 kilometers away, and at altitudes between 30 meters and 16 kilometers, making them exceptionally versatile. One key feature of Nasams is its missile self-destruction mechanism. If a missile misses its target, it detonates in the air, dramatically reducing the risk of unintended damage on the ground. This function directly counters Russian propaganda that attempts to portray Nasams missiles as causing widespread destruction. The system consists of a command post, radar stations, and several mobile launchers, each equipped with 6 missiles. It can operate both automatically and manually, with Ukrainian crews often choosing manual control to ensure maximum precision under complex battlefield conditions. Commander Kirilo Peretyatko highlighted that the division's success depends heavily on the consistent supply of missiles. His unit has already neutralized over 150 enemy aerial targets, mostly cruise missiles, protecting thousands of civilians and critical infrastructure. Authorities in several Kazakh cities have banned marches associated with Russia's Immortal Regiment movement ahead of Victory Day on May 9th. The independent news outlet Nastoyaще Vremya reported on Sunday. Officials in Almaty, Kazakhstan's largest city, and in Pavlodar and Petropavl denied permission for commemorative marches honoring Soviet soldiers who fought in World War II. In Pavlodar and Petropavl, where Russian-speaking communities are prominent, authorities proposed moving the remembrance online, including displaying veterans' photos on public LED screens. Authorities warned that unauthorized marches would be treated as illegal assemblies, punishable by fines or detention. The Immortal Regiment is a civic initiative that originated in Russia, where participants commemorate relatives who served in the Soviet Red Army during what is known as the Great Patriotic War of 1941 to 1945. In recent years, it has been increasingly promoted by the Russian government as a symbol of patriotic unity. Victory Day, celebrated on May 9th, marks the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in 1945. It remains a major public holiday in Russia and parts of the former Soviet Union, often featuring military parades and commemorations of Red Army soldiers. Activists in Almaty appealed to President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev to allow the march, accusing local officials of being anti-Soviet and vowing to proceed even without official authorization. Local media also reported claims that in Petropavl, volunteers were recruiting participants for an unsanctioned march, allegedly offering payments in Russian rubles. No Immortal Regiment event is planned in the capital Astana, where authorities are organizing official celebrations marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. A bus full of really heroes of the so-called special military operation, to be proudly taught to Russian kids in history lessons, or just recidivists sent to atone for their sins before the state.
5 судимостей, 5 ходок. 4 судимости. 3 судимости. 3 судимости. 2 судимость. 4 судимости. 3 судимости. Нанесение тяжких телесных с летальным исходом. Статья 105 убийство. Статья 105 часть 2 убийство. Убийство. Статья 105 убийство. 105 часть 2. 105.1 убийство. 105 2, 162, 105 1 убийство. Убийство. По пьяни. Попытка к убийству. Статья 105 часть 1. 105 статья, отсидел 3 судимость. Отсидел 2 года. Статья 105 часть 30. Незаконченное убийство.
Former U.S. Colonel Daniel Davis believes direct talks between Putin and Zelensky are impossible. According to him, Putin's latest statement about defeating so-called Nazis is a clear sign that direct negotiations are off the table. They're so far apart, they've left the boxing ring behind.
Is really signaling really strongly there in that last phrase, the defeat of the neo-Nazi, or the Nazi regime, as he calls them. It would be an astounding turnaround for him to now negotiate with that very entity in the Latvian power. I think that there is no chance of that. So those two guys, I said it's like four corners of a boxing ring. They're like out of the boxing ring now. They're on opposite sides. They're out of the ring entirely. They're so far away. Those things are not reconcilable. They are completely opposite. So Trump is going to have a really
Meanwhile, Solovyov is floating the idea of teaming up with the U.S. to launch a strike on Europe, supposedly to knock some sense into them. So, according to the Russian propagandist, Europe has the audacity to defend Ukraine's territorial integrity and international law.
Zelensky actually disrupted the meeting in London. Although we understand that, of course, it wasn't Zelensky, but he was following the instructions of the Europeans, because after that, the French said something about Ukraine's territorial integrity. For them, it is the holiest of holies. The British are behind all this. But what is important is something else. It is important that, well, they all unite against America. Because for us to unite with America and strike Europe so that it doesn't seem like much with all our might, then everything will immediately fall into place. For the fools.
Kremlin spokesman Peskov claims that in negotiations with Russia regarding Ukraine, the U.S. is expressing many elements that align with Moscow's position, but he refused to provide details, stating that negotiations cannot be conducted publicly.
I understand that you won't tell us anything about the nuances of past negotiations or current ones, but now statements are coming from US President Trump, further statements from US President Trump now to Time magazine, where he once again repeats that Crimea will remain part of Russia as part of a settlement deal in Ukraine. Zelensky understands this.
Work is ongoing, so for now, discussing any conditions is preliminary, and this work cannot be conducted in a public format. It can only be in a discrete format.
And Trump also states that Kyiv is to blame for starting the conflict, and the reason was that Ukraine began talking about joining NATO.
I am not Trump's spokesperson, I am Putin's spokesperson.
But this, to put it mildly, largely coincides with our position.
There are many elements that truly align with our position, yes.
Russian propaganda is out there flaunting the RF's so-called commitment to peace, threatening to take Odessa and crush anyone who stands in their way, all while acting shocked that Ukrainians aren't keen on living alongside murderers.
Today I was shown sociology from Ukraine indicating that 20% who agreed to discuss the topics asked do not see it as possible at all. Around 5% even remotely consider the idea that Russian people would be living nearby, just don't care at all. For Israel, it wouldn't matter what they think, who they want to allow, or the language they want to speak. Russia decided Odessa is our territory, they go and do it, and if you disagree, whatever, die. Well, globally, how else should you approach this? If you're a Banderovets, lie in the damp ground.
They waited more than 20 hours for rescue under the rubble. Emergency workers, together with the Animal Rescue Service, searched for everyone they could find. So far, 6 cat lives and a small hedgehog have been saved. Sadly, 1 cat died under the rubble of the building destroyed by Russia.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.